spring has definitely sprung. Since last week, the trees and the flowers have burst into life. First of all, I'm going to take off the shirt and jacket and replace it with a camouflage one. I'll be wearing less clothes to stop me sweating so much, and also I'll blend in a bit more. Well, I've changed into the jacket, which is made of an old extra large size shirt, and I've got a head covering on. My aim is to blend in with the surroundings as much as possible, so I might be able to sneak up on a deer. Any hat, even a thin one, keeps you warm. Now that's great in the winter, but in the summer when it's hot, you've really got to think about the headgear that you're going to wear. It looks like someone's been here with a mountain bike or maybe a small motorbike, but they've certainly left wheeled tracks that weren't here last time. Despite the intermittent heavy downpours yesterday, the ground is drying out slowly. You can also see the path that people have beaten down in the grass. So there's been people here since last week. Hopefully they haven't left any litter. We've got a shed load of acorns here, good tinder, along with the dried material that's been in the sun and is almost ready for use. There's a split in the track. One goes downhill, the other stays on the crest. We'll stay on the crest as I've heard voices downhill. We can see where people time after time have stood on the log. There's plenty of standing deadwood in this mixed forest, which makes it much more inviting and appealing than the planted Forestry Commission land. This is a great little trail in the woods because it keeps you below the skyline, which means you can get in and out of your location much more easily and much less visibly. By the odd scrapes in the soil, it looks like somebody or something has been along this path recently. We might find some more tracks a little later on. Here we can see where the forest has been managed. It might provide a very good area for further exploration and use. But on the way in, I did see sweet wrappers and old beer cans. As well as being cut down, a number of trees have blown down. Now the soil isn't that good and it isn't that thick up here. We'll have to take special care in deciding what type of shelter we attempt to put up in such an environment. The many drainage ditches would provide quite a hazard at night or in foggy weather. This also has to be taken in consideration when choosing a bivvy area. This is one of the paths around my chosen location. It's so much darker than it was last week. There's so much more greenery cutting out the light. It's really great to see the end of spring and the beginning of summer, although that brings its own challenges as well. We've left the chosen location, but the riders have just shown us how important it is to dress correctly and be quiet in the countryside. Before I set up camp, I'm going to use a flat cord and a plastic jar to see if I can collect any water easily. Well, I'm at the first set of seeps And the ground isn't all that wet in places. In others it is, but there's enough moisture to keep the rocks wet virtually permanently. There's plenty of moss here. Perhaps this might make a good crossing point. The water doesn't seem to be too deep, but it is very fast flowing. It's always easier to use a bridge. Crossing streams is always dangerous, but sometimes you have to do it. There are a number of seepage points, but they all seem to be fairly dry at the moment. This could be a problem. Here too looks like a good crossing point. There are plenty of very shallow areas, but the rocks may be slippy and the water's gone down a lot since last week, so it's very, very seasonal. Love and dream big and leave your litter lying all over the place. At least, however, you could use this for char cloth once you've dried it out. Well, we're back at Wilderness Fort, so now we're going to really take a break. The sink I was looking for was dry. That's good to know. De-rucksack. Sweaty kit off. Let it dry. Dry kit on and brew up. Well, we've got everything ready and the water's on. One of the advantages of this bag is it's one big sack. And if necessary, we can throw everything in very, very quickly and move somewhere else should the need arise. We can see nature beginning to heal itself. It'll take a long time. There's no need for this vandalism, but nature usually will recover. Having a chopping block available makes life a lot easier, whether it's for sharpening stakes or chopping logs. Sphagnum moss, particularly if it's damp, makes a pretty good, not too abrasive pan cleaner. Having learned once again it's not a good idea to drop thin green paracord on the ground, we've got the bivvy up. Now we're going to take it down piece by piece, pack away and get ready to move off. So we're packed up and ready to go, and we've left the area cleaner and tidier than when we arrived. So get out and about, practice your skills, you know it makes sense, it'll serve you well.